Hi, the new Mr. Fine here. Today I'm doing a tutorial on making buildings out of card, like homemade buildings. And I'm actually going to be building a station box, which is a signal box even, which is going to sit in this space here. So yeah, I'll just run through sort of what happens and so on. It might be quite a long video, but I'll try and keep it short, and hopefully you'll see the finished product in one of the updates. Okay then, so this is the design which I'm planning. I've drawn it down. Now it's a slightly different signal box. It's got like a gantry bit to it. It's styled on a GWR box, and I've sort of had a look at quite a few of them, and then I found this one. I can't tell you which station it was from, but it looked quite interesting. I thought it'd look quite good to make. So from the air it looks like that, a bit of a T-shape, and from here, and then the track runs underneath on this side. So yeah, that's hopefully how it's going to look when it's finished, or something like that. Now the next thing I had to do was to bring in, I think it's better to use coaches rather than wagons because they're the correct height and everything like that. Just bring in the loco. So yeah, when the locos and stuff is in, then grab a ruler or something. Try and use a clear ruler rather than like a tape measure, only because it's slightly easier. And then all I did is I measured the gap, found out what the distance was there. In this case it is, what was it? It was 6.5 centimeters. So I think 5 centimeters is about the correct width to leave enough room on either side for coaches running down and through and everything. There we go. Yep, so it's going to be 5 centimeters wide. I then worked out the length, what I wanted. Again, I basically just stuck a ruler on the ground and decided about 10 centimeters was right. I then used ruler upright, and 6 centimeters gives me the correct clearance for the gantry bit. And then the final bit, which I haven't worked out yet, is the height of the top section, which has actually got all the windows and stuff in it. I'm going to work that bit out once I've created the rest of it, because I wanted to look in scale, but I'm not quite sure how big. At the moment it's probably going to be 4 centimeters high. Okay then, so the next stage is you go and take your measurements that you've just made and go to a website called, I'll have to put it in the description, it's not obvious, but basically just type in 00 gauge scale converter onto Google or whatever search engine, and it'll come up. And it's all I'm doing here is I'm typing into all these, I'm just putting in all my measurements here to check they're realistic, because for instance if I'd made that signal box 20 centimeters long, then when I put 20 centimeters in here it comes out to be about, actually I can just do that quickly, 20 centimeters is the equivalent of, hang on, here we go, 76. Okay, so 20 centimeters is the equivalent of 15 meters, which is, on my particular station, that's not a realistic size for a signal box. If you were doing like a mains terminus station with, like, I don't know, 20 odd tracks or something, then it probably would be the right scale. But yeah, I just go through all of this, check all the measurements and so on, and the measurements which I actually told you were the final measurements. I've sort of adjusted them to fit. And while I was there, I've also worked out the size of the top of the board. So the top bit up here is going to be 3 centimeters with a 1.7 centimeters roof to the peak, and then this piece of roof here is 1.5 centimeters high. And that seems to be quite a good size, realistic size, and it works quite well. So now we've worked out that, I can turn my light back on. Oh, sorry, I'm doing this completely. This is all backwards to me at the moment. There we go. So yeah, just move all the stuff out of the way. So yeah, now the light's back on, you can see what's happening, and I've created a bottom piece already, which looks like this. I actually am using cereal boxes. The card is about the right thickness, it's easy to work with and so on. And this here is the bottom piece. Now for anyone who doesn't know, when you build card kits, or whenever you build, like, you know, ready-made, ready-cut card kits as well, these are called tabs along the top, and these are what you use to stick it all together with. Now I will eventually be using glue, but at the moment I'm using masking tape. Masking tape is really good because it's sticky, it sticks stuff together, but you can peel it off without ripping off any of the layers of cardboard away or paper away. So yeah, that's the bottom piece, and when I make it all up quickly, there you go. There's the bottom piece. Obviously there'll be windows and doors cut into that. So I'm going to go over to the layout now, and we can check it's about the right size. Right then, so yeah, back on the layout now. If I stick it approximately in the middle, have a look at that, and yeah, that is about the correct size, dimensions and everything. There's an equal gap on either side. If I just bring this forward and backwards, there's no chance of any body contact or anything like that. There's good clearance on this side, and this side's a straight edge, so that won't make any difference really at all. So yeah, that's all working now. When I do the next section, I'll actually show you how I lay it all out, cut it all out and so on, and fold it all really nice and neatly like that. But the next stage is, because at the moment this is all flexible, as you can see, I've got to put a base plate on it, and then I'm going to put a top plate on it, and I'll show you all that once I've done it. Alright, okay then, so you saw this bit here. I've now stuck the bottom on it, which now makes it a bit more rigid. When I sit the top on it, it'll be solid. And this bit here is the top piece. Now, if you remember the original design, it's got this T-shape in it, but I want a walkway all the way around the outside edge of it. Now this walkway here is 1.2 centimeters wide, which is about, it's 12mm wide, which is about 1 meter wide in real life, and I think about a meter is about right. So yeah, walkway all around the edge. Now because of that, I had to add 1.2 centimeters all the way around the outside, which meant I just had to add onto the overall width of 12.5 from here to here. I then had to add another 2.4 onto the edge to create the size you see there. So as you can see, there's a walkway running all the way around the edge. Then you can see the darker lines are the actual thing which I'm going to cut out. Then when this sits on this, it'll sit something like this, like that. And you can sort of now get the idea of the shape of it. Then the only thing that's missing from here is on this bit here. I'm going to have something which sits down like that, like the ruler is, to create like another leg. I might make a small building, you know, a very small rectangle that just slots straight in underneath it, stick it down, it'll be absolutely fine. So there, that's the sort of thing which I'm going to be doing now. Now just a matter of cutting it out. Craft knife. Do it on something you don't mind getting damaged. This is my old desk. I really don't care if it gets scratches and stuff in it, but ideally you want a craft board thing. And it's all you do is you line your ruler up, score it once, remove the ruler away just to check you've got it correct, and then you have to score about 3 times and it'll cut all the way through. So we'll just do one edge, line it up. Yeah, that's fine. And once you've made a deep enough scratch, well, I'd say you can get rid of the ruler, but I would recommend not. And then that's it. And now you can see it sort of cut itself away, all the way around, and then we can get moving on with the actual building. Right, okay, and I've just finished off the top half. I'm going to take the windows out in a minute and show you that. But I've now got the base, the top, and this piece here. Now, cardboard is quite flexible, like so, and the way to strengthen it is basically just to add layers of cardboard. So this piece here fits exactly in the middle, and it leaves like an edge all the way around, which this here will then sit around exactly. Now, this piece here is a little bit interesting. Because when it's all stuck together like this, it obviously sits like so, but I need to have a an extra bit here. So what I'm going to be doing is actually adding, cutting out these 2 windows here, creating like a large area, and then I'll be attaching this to this piece, and hopefully it'll look quite good when it's done. We'll have to see how it goes. Now ideally I wanted to cut this out in one piece, but I didn't quite have enough room of cardboard to do it all in one, so I'm having to do it in 2 bits. One bit here, the second bit on there, which will happen later on. But anyway, so what I've got to do is fit this piece on first, then put this piece of cardboard over the top of it, and then that will all be nice and strong and it will be steady. So the thing I was going to show you is just this. It's removing windows. I know it sounds simple, but you've got to get it right. Now the way I did it was I decided to have a centimetre up from the bottom and 5mm from the top. So I first of all drew 2 lines all the way along, one from the bottom and one from the top. And then worked out how big each window is. Now each window is 2 centimetres, and when I put the glass or the plastic, whatever I use in the back of it, those windows are going to be split up into 3 along the top and then 1 along the bottom, possibly. So hopefully it'll look like that. I think it'll look alright, but I'll have to do that all later on. So to cut out the windows, I obviously did a black or a dark outline around the outside of them, and then just craft knife along the edges to a stage where just a little bit of pressure, just bring your craft knife in, just to cut off the last corners like so. You've got to be really careful you don't slip when doing this, because if you slip and accidentally cut it all the way, then you've ruined it and you've got to completely restart. If you did that on the last window, you'd be really annoyed. But it just comes out like that. There you go, and that's one window down. And same, just got to get this corner right. Quite often, once you get one edge up, the rest of it will just pop out. Like so. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with that, and then I'll start putting it all together. Okay then, YouTube. You just saw me cutting all the windows out. I'll show you that in a minute. But what's happened now is I need windows, plastic, something to stick behind it. Now I was thinking of using sellotape to stick on the inside edge, and then cutting another piece of sellotape the same size and stick it on the outside, then draw on it and put windows in like that. But I did try on a piece of cardboard and it didn't quite work very well, because it was very difficult to stick the two bits of sellotape together without getting an air bubble in there. So I went down into the kitchen amazingly and found this, which is it's a container you get food in. And I mean, there's loads of things like this that just have these clear plastic tubs in them which are solid. Now most of them like this one, they've got like ridges in them, so you can't use ridgy bits, but as you can see, to hope the light just catches it, there's a nice flat section there, there's another one there, underneath there's 1, 2, 3, 4 there, and there's just about enough sections to at least do the bottom half. So obviously, as this piece here is going to have a roof stuck on the top, I'm going to get this piece done, and then I can worry about finishing off the other one at a later date. Now, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to put anything on the inside of this one yet. I probably won't, thinking about it. Any detail on the inside of this, because there's only a couple of windows, and when they're set down like that, I might even paint curtains onto the inside of them to make it look like they're closed off or something like that. But anyway, yeah, I'll just quickly show you around the side. 2 big windows there, 2 on that side, and then a door and a small window on the front. I haven't put anything on the back, that's just going to be a solid brick wall. Don't really need anything on the back there. So, sorry, a little bit of, there we go. So yeah, it's time to stick on windows. Now, what I'm going to do is work out first of all what size I need. And I can clearly see that these flat pieces on the bottom here are about the right size. Camera probably won't pick it up very well, especially as I'm holding it out of shot. Camera up very slightly. Right, yeah, anyway. So, yeah, these bits of plastic here are just about the right width and so on to create a window. So I'm going to cut them out the bottom, stick the windows in either side. Okay then, so windows are now in, well, at least all in the bottom section. I've actually carried on with the top section as well. But each of these, look, I can't, nice bit of blue, well, plastic in there. Eventually I'll be adding, well, I'm probably going to do like open curtains or something like that on the inside, and all you do is you pick up a very fine permanent marker or something, you just carefully draw on it the outside, the shape of the curtains, then you can put your windows on it and so on. That's all I'm going to do. We'll see that later on. So yes, that's come out quite nice now. Sort of look inside and stuff. Now, I worked out when I put a cover on the top of it, and you can't see any light through, it doesn't look too bad on the inside, so I might just be leaving it like that. Possibility, actually no, I'm probably going to paint the inside black and just leave it at that. at least on the bottom half. The top half I'm going to do a bit more on because you're obviously going to look at that a bit more. So yeah, that's coming along quite nicely now. The top half you have never seen before in one piece, but I've now got it up to this stage. And all windows are all in the back, on the sides, and I'm now working on the front piece and the two windows here and here. I've got two doors in there as well. So yeah, I've already cut it all out to size and shape. There it is. If I catch it on the light, you can just about see it. There's the light. There it is. Anyway, yeah. So that piece there just sits in on the side there, and yeah, I'll stick that all in, and then we can start doing a bit more work on the top. Alright, YouTube. Sorry, just clearing a bit of space. Get all the way. So yeah. Well, I've done quite a bit now. From what you saw it just a second. Well, a second ago for me, about 3 hours ago, and a huge improvement and stuff. It looks really good at the moment in my opinion, and here she is. No roof obviously. I'm not going to fit the roof or touch the roof. In fact, I've done the inside, which is where I'm going to start. Actually, I'll start there probably. So here's the inside of it. Now all the walls have been painted the same colour as the outside. The reason for that is because I had to mix up my own paint and I had quite a bit left over. But the main reason for painting the inside was so when you look through the windows, you couldn't see any of the writing from the packaging. Because obviously it was a cereal box. You have this on the outside of the cereal box. So yeah, I had to paint over that just with a plain colour. Nothing special or anything like that, but if I use that size, which is what I did use for the outside and stuff, it looks alright. So yeah, so on the inside, so what have I got here? I've got two controls. One control unit there, one control unit there. I have no idea. What I ideally want to do, I had one of those with like levers on it. I don't know where to get one from or to build it or whatever, so it doesn't matter. I've done it like this. It's not going to be super detailed or anything like that. It's just so when you look through the window, you can see there's something on the inside of it like that, and that's exactly what I've ended up with. Now, it's two controls here. The only thing that's missing is at this end here, I want to have a little fireplace of some form. Quite small, and then it's going to come basically just a chimney straight up through the roof, and there'll be a chimney on the top here, so there's going to be a little fire inside. There's stairs just there that run down. Now, you can just about see it. There's the white from the polystyrene which makes up the stairs. Now on the top the stairs are painted brown, but on the underside they're white still. Now is what my plan is. Down here I'm going to have curtains which I'm going to paint on, and they're going to be pretty much closed, like a little gap just so enough light gets through. I've already stuck the bulb in there. Here's the two wires coming out for it. Now the bulb is actually right at the top in the middle, so it gives a natural looking light. I will be having bulb one on this section and one in this section in the roof, but I won't be doing that obviously until the roof's on. So yeah, that's sort of the detail inside what I've done so far. I'm not going to paint the floor or anything, the doors and everything and so on. Sorry, the inside of the doors. I painted the outside of the doors brown, so there's one there, one at the bottom and one at the top here. Now this one at the bottom, as you can see, there's no windows, there's no window in the door either. I just wanted a plain wooden door on this back piece like that. So yeah, that's one side and so on. Now it's going to sit, on my layout it's going to sit like this, with the third line running here, and then the second line running there, and then the final main line running at the top here. So that's how it's going to sit. And the reason I decided to do that is I wanted to get the look like you could, if you were, controlling the signals or whatever, you could walk up to the end of the box here and then you could look straight down the station and you could see the points at the far end of the station. And I thought that looked quite good, especially as it gives like a little tunnel or bridge almost for the locos which actually have to run under it. So I've created the final leg, which will eventually just be plain red brick. I might copy what I've done on this side, which is a wooden beam along here, and then from there upwards it's this creamy yellow colour. That will have just pencil lines drawn all over it to look like pieces of wood. Now I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do the lines going that way or that way. I'm going to have a look on the internet at quite a few other models and so on of boxes and actual real life boxes and see what I get there. So yeah, it's come along quite nicely now. I'll just give you a quick look around it. Now the only thing which I'm struggling to work out to do is I need handrails running all the way along the outside of this at the top here. I'm not quite sure what to do. The other thing which I've got to work out to do is on this side here I need to have steps going up to it. And again, I'm trying to work out how to do that. But my plan is to mount it on top of basically like a small man-made hill. So it sits, instead of sitting straight on the floor like that, it will actually sit about 3-5 mil up. Two things that does, it gives more clearance around here for any locos running, as well as that it just creates like it's been lifted off the ground slightly, and I think it'll look a lot better like that. So yeah, that's sort of what's going to happen. I'm actually going to stick this on the layout now and get a good look at it. So then it's not quite the right place, but you know, you get the picture of where it's going to sit. It would look quite good and so on, and obviously locos will run on the underside of it quite easily. In fact, there's a good bit of sorry, maybe I should have brought the loco over first of all. Which controller is this? That one. So yeah, so it might die just thinking about it. Oh no, it's going to come up. So yeah, so there you go. You sort of get the idea of how it's going to roll underneath. And yeah, I think it's come along quite nicely. I think, in my opinion, it looks really good, especially as I've completely hand built it. But there you go, and I've checked everything, and there's loads of clearance and everything from the from both the side of the building to the corner of the local coach, whatever, and from the top to the bottom. My tallest loco is actually this little one here, and she just about fits underneath it with about 3 mil clearance or so. So that's absolutely perfectly fine and everything like that, which is quite good. So yeah, imagine a slate roof on there, this sort of roof, something like that, that sort of style roof, and yeah, I think it'll look quite good. And the same goes for the brickwork as well on there, same sort of brickwork. So yeah, brickwork all around the bottom, brickwork all around the side here. Slate roof on will be like the last thing. You probably won't see me actually put the slate roof on. I'll do it as a little bit of an update, because I want to make sure I get the interior looking correct and so on. But yeah, so that's come on quite nicely. I'm going to put the brickwork round it, and then I'll show you it again. Alright then, this is it, minus the roof and minus one piece of detail, finished. And it looks really good actually, especially when it's going to have a grey, probably a grey slate roof like I showed you previously. I think that'll look quite good. Sorry if you put the TV in. Yeah, but it's come out quite nicely now. I've got red brick down the bottom, all the way around, and on this piece here. Then I've got a line of wood, and then the yellow you saw. If you now look carefully, there's lines all over it, and they are literally just pencil lines. I used my set square ruler thing, marked them out. I used the scale converter on the computer, and I found out that 12 inches, which is, yeah, well, hopefully not 12 inches, is the equivalent of 4 millimeters. So each of these lines, the distance between the lines represents, well, yeah, a foot. So there's, for instance, there's 4 foot between that bottom plank there and the underside of that. And yeah, it's come along quite nice. Now inside, I've added the little fireplace there. You probably won't be able to see it, but there is actually, oh there you go, out focus slightly. There's a little bit of yellow in there, and that looks like there's like a fire burning inside. Doesn't look amazingly good, but you won't really notice it because this particular piece will face the other way against the backboard of the layout. So yeah, last thing to do, which I'll show you in an update, is to stick the roof on it and to stick the lights on it. But I'll just quickly explain how I'm doing that. I'm going to create a hole in the corner here. Then the wire's going to come up from underneath where the other wire is. It's going to come up to the roof, where it's then going to split, and then one bulb's going to sit about here somewhere, and the other one's going to sit about here somewhere, and they'll be attached to the roof, and then that'll give nice sort of lighting effect in there. But yeah, that's come along really nicely now. So yeah, hopefully if you want to build a card kit you can, and I mean the cheapest way to get card is to just go out to wherever you keep your cereal boxes and take the box, and it's about the right thickness of card. It's really easy to work with. One thing I was going to say is I've completely used double-sided sticky tape to hold all of this together. and it's worked quite well actually. Ideally you'd want to use glue, but glue takes a little, well, you have to hold it there for like, I don't know, like 5 minutes or so to let the glue set, and when using this here you can literally just stick it up, push it on, it's done. Now there is one or two problems with this. For instance here, on this end, it's actually started to come away very slightly, you can see the gap there, but because it's just this one leg and it's sort of like a freestanding leg, when I stick this onto the track like so, it'll actually be held down. It won't make any real difference or anything. But yeah, that's a signal box I'm going to be using. I think it looks quite good for a homemade sort of kit thing. Actually, I've just thought there's only one thing missing, and that's window sills all the way around the windows at the bottom. I'm not going to bother at the top because I think it looks alright. But around the bottom here, I'm going to be putting like a, well, you know, like an outline to the window. Same goes for the bottom of the door. But yeah, that'll be the last thing, and again I'll show you that in the update, and that'll be the final bit. But that there is literally all the interior I was talking about. Fire, stairs, 2 control panels, and that's it. But when you look through the windows, I think that looks alright. So yeah, so that's it for this sort of long, very, very long how-to video. It's probably 20 odd minutes or so by the time this is finished. But yeah, I think it's come out really nicely, and it'll be on the layout soon, hopefully, once I've fitted the roof. I'll probably do a how-to on how to make a roof, because this has got 2 sections to it. You need to get all your angles correct and everything, but yeah, I'll do that as a separate sort of video, how to fit roofs or something like that, I'll call it. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions about this, if you want to know any more about it, then leave it below and I'll get back to it as soon as possible, as soon as I can. And yeah, I think it looks quite good. So I've got one light in there, which works. Tested that. Always test your lights before you use them, because it's a nightmare to keep them out otherwise. But that is it. So thanks for watching.